welcome to Once Upon a Time. This is episode 11 of season 5. It's been a while, hasn't it? Hello. If you did keep up with, I think I mentioned it in the last reaction, or just my community tab post on my channel and everything, you'll know I had a few weeks where I was like packing up my house to move, so I could only kind of focus on the live airing shows. Then I moved and had no internet for a bit. Then my internet was terrible, still kind of is a bit. I've been sorting all that out, and I've been slowly but surely getting through the main cycle of shows again, and it's finally time for more Once Upon a Time. So thank you to those of you who were very patient and waited for me to get to this point. Not so much thank you to those who weren't as patient, but that's fine, whatever. Just ignore you. But yeah, I'm very excited to reach this point in the season, because I feel like we're at the big crux of this particular arc, I think, with Hook as the Dark One and everything going on with that. The Camelot stuff as well, you know, everything that's kind of led, I feel like, to a moment like this, because we're around halfway through the season now. That's normally when they do, like, they wrap up the first arc. So I'll be very intrigued to see if that's going to be the case with this one, because it felt certainly quite momentous at the end of the last episode when we had Nimue and all these Dark Ones arriving at Storybrooke. So we'll see if Hook's plan kind of comes into fruition, and if we can find a way to undo the mess that has been made so far. So I'm very excited for that. I'm also excited on a personal level, not only just to be back recording Once Upon a Time, but this is my 100th reaction to Once Upon a Time, which is quite momentous. Because obviously, I mean, people fall in different camps. If you see Smash the Mirror as 2 different episodes, like part 1 and part 2 as 2 separate episodes, then this is the 100th episode of Once Upon a Time. If you see it like I kind of do, as Smash the Mirror is just 1 extended episode, because that's how it was in the production order, and that's, you know, what some of the creators and stuff kind of class it as 1 long episode that just aired in 2 parts as opposed to 2 separate episodes. This would be episode 99, and the next episode is the official 100th episode, and I think that's how they treat it as well. That the next one's like the official 100th, so I'm excited for that. But for me, you know, because I did 2 reactions for Smash the Mirror, I did do a part 1 and a part 2 for it. This is my 100th reaction, which is very cool and exciting. It took us a while to get to the point, but it's a momentous occasion. So big shout out to any of you who've been there since the very first one, or if you joined along the way, happy that you're here as well. But yes, very, very excited to finally be back, getting into Once Upon a Time again, and to see what on earth's going to happen next. So let's get into it.
We're all braver than we think, if we just look deep enough. Before you know it, you don't have to worry about a thing. Your father will watch the light for you. Just go to sleep, Gillian.
Sure. I thought that might have been young Hook.
He traded you and your brother into my service.
No, he wouldn't do that.
Now you know.
And yet...
Kind of man.
We need to split up and find him and stop him. No matter what it takes.
This will end well.
I've decided to grant myself sole custody. See, I'd like to raise her by myself without you two getting in the way. I'm going to teach her how to be wicked.
Ugh. Make your mind up.
Try and take my daughter from me.
Nah. Don't just stand there and watch them walk up to you. What the hell was that?
Are you okay?
The only way for them to stay is to trade places with living souls. Meaning us. Exactly. And when the moon reaches its peak, the fairy from the underworld will arrive and drag us down there.
Oh, great. Wonderful.
Doesn't sound good.
Looks set to join My Chemical Romance, doesn't he?
You aren't the man you were when I recruited you to kill my mother. When I tested you. And when you...
Not another word.
Because she's making sense.
You will bring me to a land without magic where I can finally get my revenge on Rumpelstiltskin.
Indeed. But first,
She's so dramatic.
I need to know what kind of man you are.
Maybe this is a fight we can't win.
Mom,
Well, that's not the
where's
spirit.
Snow White?
Promise me that you'll come meet us at Granny's. Come say goodbye. I promise.
God. I would have thought they'd try at least a few more things before they give up, but...
I love you too.
I need you to keep that promise now. I need you to swear not to tell anyone else.
Oh, secrets. Good.
Get
Guess you still have to put it in someone.
That's what I was thinking.
Go today and have a life.
Is something wrong?
Phew, many things. Oh, the angst, the pain, the suffering.
I bet there are a lot of people in the underworld who would be thrilled to see you and me.
We deserve
Yeah. I like that he doesn't like question her. He just did something he felt he had to do, so he understands that Emma wants to do the same.
You're a brave woman, Emma Swan.
I like how even Regina's surprised.
Him.
Oh, it's Dad.
Father.
Shit.
Hunter. Pistachio.
Of course, Green.
Oh my god. I just realised that all three of those work as baby names. It's all just coming together.
Don't call your baby Pistachio.
The withered knob of that sad old man. If memory serves, let's go somewhere. Just the two of us.
We can make it if we try. Of course, here.
I am not done! You will see me again!
Oh, well, bye.
Somewhere over the rainbow!
Cutting her off completely from her kids a bit, like, yeah, but also she's a bit,
You know what you need to do.
Change your mind? No?
Your brother, Liam, was not so fortunate.
Story of my life.
Not long after I left you and Liam, I got caught and put under a sleeping curse.
Great.
Sleeping curse. How the bloody hell are you awake now? How does anyone break a curse? After we married, she fell ill. Plague. The world must believe you're dead. The Queen, everyone must think I killed you. I
Oh.
can secure. You can't destroy the plague that took yours, but I can destroy the plague that took mine. I must continue on. My wife and I, we had a son.
Ooh, that's gonna sting.
I couldn't watch one more person at one time.
And now because of that, you get to watch everyone you love die.
Don't love anyone, kids.
One more.
Oh,
Sorry.
nah, it's not gonna be him. He didn't open the door or anything. Well, I mean, you kind of deserve that one.
There's no way to stop your trip to the underworld.
What makes you think I can't?
Because of what we swore to never speak of again. I know the real reason.
We're all braver than we think if we just look deep enough.
Well, you weren't particularly brave way back when.
I'll see you in the morning, Leo.
Oh. Do you only know two names, or?
You're just not worth it.
Oh, man. Really went there.
It's never too late. You can change.
Bloody hell.
That's enough.
What do you think you're doing?
Being the man I want to be.
Hey! Bye-bye!
Take it.
I can't. It should be me.
Your family needs you. If anyone deserves to go to the underworld, it's me.
Oh, God. It's just like Buffy. Hey. Don't know, I'm getting emotional. I feel like they're going to bring him back somehow, but cool, that's quite sad.
Hey, Henry, Cody, you told me everything. You lied to me. Again.
Oh! You did what you always do, but it's fine this time.
What I want is to be with you.
Hey. Until the next time you fuck up. I've missed the red jacket, I must say. I know it's a bad time, but...
You are the dark one. Again.
Yeah.
Oh.
To keep that secret. A small vial of magic was close at hand. One sprinkle, and I knew I could get it all back. I turned the sword into a conduit. So that while I thought he was destroying the darkness, he was actually moving it. Things are as they should be.
Oh my god, this man never changes.
You found a loophole. Betrayed us all again.
It's what I do.
Yeah, and I'm bored of it. The dagger looks quite different though, it's like more so black, isn't it? I quite like it.
What do you want, Miss Swan?
You're going to hell? The underworld.
That's quite a distinction.
We're getting him back.
Ah, here we go.
You two share a heart. So will we.
Oh. Is that the second half of the season, like the hunt for Hook? Because that'd be quite cool.
But, are you sure about that?
Do it.
He didn't ask her if she was sure earlier. Because he had this long-term plan, I guess. And now he's asking her. So we're just casually going to hell.
I will always find you.
Ah. That's what her parents always say. Okay, a really solid episode overall. Lots of interesting stuff to set up the second half of this season, with a quite literal descent into hell, I suppose, going to the underworld. I'm really excited about that arc in particular. So I was very excited about all the Camelot stuff because I liked the Arthurian legends and everything, and that kind of faded away, I think, the last few episodes. I do wish. I'm hoping we see Arthur and Guinevere again at some point. So it feels like that story's unfinished to me. Because they normally tie up like a whole first half of a season arc like neatly to set up the next one. But that kind of feels a bit unfinished to me. Because Guinevere, I don't think I really found out about Arthur like using the dust on her and everything, the sand, to like manipulate her to being on his side, and it just feels like there wasn't enough done with that story, and then I feel like they just dropped them. So I'm hoping we get more of that at some point. So I'm not going to like criticise yet, because for all I know, I may get, they may revisit that story and give it a proper conclusion. But for now, I'm like, oh, okay, right. But there were a few moments I feel like that in this season and even in this episode. But I was very excited about the whole Camelot thing at the start of that arc as well. And now the idea of them going to the underworld is quite exciting, because maybe I'm reading too much into it. It's the 100th episode next, like the official one. And, if they're going to the place where some dead characters are, maybe we could see some dead characters come back. And that would be a cool way of celebrating, that'd be fun. I don't know if they are going to do it. I don't even know if they make a big deal of the 100th episode. I don't know if they do like an official like wink wink, yeah, they make it something special. It's just like another standard episode that just happens to be the 100th, because some shows just do that. So yeah, I'm really excited to see how they present the underworld in this show, what they do with that concept, how long they're going to be there for. Is this the entire second half of the season? They're just going to be there? Like, what about Henry's school? But I like the idea of like the search for Hook and like trying to bring him back. I didn't think he was going to stay dead. As emotional as the scene was, I was kind of thinking like this isn't going to be it, surely not. Especially because if he just died at the end there anyway, this entire arc of like what Emma did to like save him and everything, just like, why bother? Because he ended up dead anyway. It would have been a bit like, well, that was a pointless arc. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with the whole Underworld stuff. I think there's a lot of potential there for something really cool. So I'm excited for what the second half of the season is going to bring in terms of that. And I think they did a pretty decent job of wrapping up, you know, Arthur and Guinevere, kind of that aspect of it aside. I think they did a great job of wrapping up the stuff with Emma as the Dark One, Hook as the Dark One, revelations with that as well, and defeating all the previous Dark Ones, get rid of them. It's often, I think, the case, it was the same with the Snow Queen. I feel like in season 4, Hook's kind of turned back to good and realising he's going to be the man, you know, I'm going to be the man I want to be. That was a bit too quick for me. I feel like they need to do a bit more of a build up to that, especially because it's like the big climactic choice that kind of finishes the arc off. But you could always see that potential in Hook was there. He wanted to be the better person. He had been working towards that. So it doesn't surprise me that he did get there. I just wish maybe they didn't just be like, you know, hey, Hook, have a flashback, you know, and then you're going to be okay again. That's kind of what it felt like. I wish there was a bit more journey to that. Obviously him seeing Emma get hurt and everything really motivated that. But the way he'd been acting towards her for the past couple of episodes, that pure anger, and he still hadn't really let go of that at any point in this episode or the last one, in order to like move forward and maybe forgive her, and then it would work to restore him seeing her get hurt. He was just so relentlessly cruel to her, and granted he's a Dark One, so he would be. It just seemed a bit too quick of a shift for that to be a thing. But again, it's a way of wrapping up the story, so it kind of had to happen. So yes, some interesting stuff with like the flashback, seeing Hook when he was young, or Killian I probably should say, his dad leaving him, selling him and his brother to kind of escape, and talking about, you know, finding the courage and your strength deep down inside, no matter how afraid you are. I thought that was an interesting concept, and then bringing that back to maybe make Hook think, oh god, this guy hasn't changed, I'm going to stab him. And him calling his next son Liam, I mean, great name, don't get me wrong, but that did feel a bit yikes, you know? I can kind of see why Hook was a bit pissed at that. Not pissed enough to kill the guy, but I like that it kind of left it a bit open. I think you could say his dad actually had changed, and Hook kind of just snapped there and made that decision, like guarantee that he wouldn't get found out and stuff by Regina. But it could also have been that because he was saying those things to this other Liam 2.0, Liam 3.0 if you count me, since he was still saying the same stuff he was saying way back when Killian was a kid, maybe he hasn't changed. I think it could have gone either way, open to interpretation. So I like that it didn't confirm either way, like, yeah, this is the same guy, he hasn't learnt a single lesson, he's another kid and stuff. I wonder if they'll explore the aftermath of that. I wonder if the scorned Liam 2.0 child is going to come back into it somehow and like try and get revenge for his dad's death or something, because they didn't pick that up. Again, showed what happened next with that, so that would have been cool to see as well. But that additional backstory in Hook killing his dad, how Regina was involved in that, like setting all that up to see if, you know, if he could kill one of his parents, surely he'll be alright killing one of Regina's. So I liked that they went back to that, especially because they then revisited their relationship between Hook and Regina at the end, because she was the one who was kind of saying, you know, remember what we said way back when, and the man you want to be, everything with that, kind of the inciting incident to bring him back onto the side of good. So I like how they handled that, and bringing his dad into it was a really interesting new layer to his backstory. So I liked the flashbacks quite a bit, and it just fed into the big theme of the episode, I think, of who you truly are. So we had that going on with Hook. That was very much a big battle with him and his dad. You know, who is he truly now? Had he changed his ways? Had he realised that he was wrong in the way he was a dad to Killian way back when, and he could have changed in the present day? Then we had Regina even talking about the fact that she's not who she used to be way back when either. This is who she truly is now. Emma versus, you know, the Dark One, just being her normal self, who she truly is. And the big gold reveal as well, the fact that he's a Dark One again, because he's always going to fall back on that power. That's who he truly is. I wish it wasn't, but you know, they really just, yeah, they really have to keep that story going with Gold, I suppose. Even though I'm bored as hell with it, but it is what it is. Maybe they'll do something a bit different with it this time. I've mentioned many times I wasn't big on that in season 4, him just being evil again. Especially when that season also had like Cruella, who was just evil for the sake of it. We're already doing that kind of thing. And it does just feel like they're recycling the same story again and again now, especially because once again he's lying to Belle. He's learned nothing from season 4, or you know, the whole reason him lying to her, holding things from her, doing evil shit was the reason that, you know, she was reluctant to get back with him at the start of the season anyway, and caused him all that pain. And now he's just gone back to that cycle all over again. And I can't root for Rumple and Belle, really, because Belle deserves so much better. And I remember, I think was it season 4 when Belle like uses the dagger to like banish Rumple and tells him to go. I think that's like the end of the first half of the season. She does that. I got a comment saying, "Why didn't you cry at that scene? That was really sad." I was like, well, because Belle was in the right and Rumple had that coming. You know, Gold did that completely to himself. I'm not actively rooting for those two to get together right now because, you know, she deserves so much better. I'm kind of in that place again now, because he may have done some selfless things and stuff in this episode, and him giving Emma the sword willingly without making a deal, but in the back of his mind he was like, well, I've got a scheme here to get all my power back. And I get like, oh, it might be the point of his character that he never learns and stuff, because he's always going to be the Dark One. That's just who he is now. He's fully corrupt. He's too far gone. Fine, but just stop going back and forth on it then. Stop being like, oh, no, actually, he can be good. He can be good, see? Just make him evil all the time then. It's just, I'm so bored of it. So I'm hoping at least now maybe they'll do something a bit different, but we're in the same spot again where he's just lying to Belle about having all this power. He's a Dark One again. I don't mind it being the Dark One again. Fine. But let's just fully commit to that now, I suppose, instead of just going around in circles, because I'm so bored of it. Find something else to do with the character, and do with the Rumple and Belle relationship than just he's always lying to her, gets found out, pretends to be sorry, does it all over again. It's boring at this point, for me anyway. Some people I'm sure will love it, but I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm done with that now. I was done with that by like season 3, and 2 seasons later they're still doing it, so we'll see what happens with it regardless. Maybe they'll do something a bit different and surprising with it, and maybe, you know, Gold going into the underworld now, seeing all these people he killed, maybe this is going to be another wake-up call, but even then that's just playing back into the cycle of, oh, maybe I should change my ways, but no, I'm evil. We'll see. What else? I suppose a few things I do want to just say, not to be a negative Nancy. I do think bringing all the Dark Ones back to Storybook and everything with that, I feel like they didn't really use that to its full potential. They just walked through a few people to mark them for death, which I thought was quite cool. But they didn't really do anything after that. They just showed up at the end to be defeated. I feel like they could have done a bit more with them, but that's fine. And overall, you know, as great as it is to see Emma be herself again and stuff, you know, it's kind of inevitable that she would become proper Emma again. Obviously not in the way I expected. I like how, you know, the twist with Hook being a Dark One and everything was really, really cool. Definitely one of the best twists I think the show's done in quite some time. And him sacrificing himself to restore it all, get rid of all the other Dark Ones, bring Emma back into the light and stuff. That was all very well and good. Overall, though, I was a bit underwhelmed by Dark Emma, the Dark Swan, I suppose you could say. I was hoping for a bit more with Emma being the Dark One. I feel like they didn't really explore it in the ways I would have liked, maybe. I'm not saying that they should have done, because they shouldn't just write their show and take their characters and stories in the directions that would please me, one viewer of many. But for me, I felt a bit underwhelmed with how they handled the story overall. I just wanted a bit more from Emma as the Dark One. I just feel like maybe she's not supposed to be that different and everything, but I feel like some like physicality change and stuff, just something, just to distinct a bit more. Because even like I feel like Hook as the Dark One. There was a difference to him that I just didn't get with Emma becoming the Dark One. It just felt like, I'm just going to say all my lines like this, I'm the Dark One. And that was the character. I just felt like you made your main character the hero of the past, 4 seasons up to that point, the Dark One. And you just didn't do that much with it, and ended up just giving the same storyline to a different character, but revealed it a bit later on that had happened. Which is all very well and good, because the twist was great. But maybe serve Emma becoming the Dark One and that story just as well as you serve Hook becoming the Dark One, because I feel like that was only a few episodes and it was already done infinitely better than Emma had a whole half season for. So that felt a bit flat for me ultimately, but it is what it is. And Zelina as well, I feel like ever since they brought Zelina back into it, they just don't know what to do with her, is the impression I get. Some episodes they really use her well, others she's just in the background or she's not in it at all. She was just there to kind of be a bit of a nuisance and a blockage, I guess, for Robin and Regina getting super close. I've yet to see what bringing her back into the show has done, story-wise, in a major way, really. Because they've been building up to her and everything, and I guess they just wanted her to be there so that Emma could try and use, her to put all the darkness into. That's why they needed someone there that you may not have necessarily minded being killed and, had all the darkness poured into. But yeah, she just felt a bit like a spare part ever since they brought her back. I mean, it's such a big deal of it in season 4, then basically did nothing with it for the rest of the season. And now I'm hoping they do more with her in the second half, because it just felt very out of place, her bit in this episode, because clearly the focus needs to be on Hook and everything, and they were just like, oh yeah, let's just use this wand and send her away now. Okay, bye. She was gonzo in like the first 10 minutes of the episode. So I'm sure there's going to be a cool-ish revenge plot coming for her, but I'm hoping they do find a decent place for her in the show. So I don't think they've quite nailed it yet, outside of her arc in season 3, which was fantastic. But I've yet to kind of be convinced that they needed to bring her back, if that makes sense. So hopefully second half of the season we'll do something really cool with Zelina and actually justify her still being in the show. As great as the actress is, I feel like she's not being given the material that she deserves. So there's that. And I already talked about Gold and everything, haven't I? That whole story with him, very sneaky and stuff, but I'm kind of like, ooh. But yeah, everything else surrounding that I still really enjoyed. Some really emotional moments in this episode. I thought the performances across the board were great. Everyone kind of like saying goodbye, like the emotions behind that. And even if it was maybe all part of his scheme, I did enjoy Gold just handing over this Excalibur to Emma and being like, you're a brave woman, Swan. But I feel like the cogs are already turning in his head at that point, so that's undermined it a bit, I suppose. But there is something about, I feel like, it's almost like a mid-season finale-esque episode like this when they wrap up the first arc, set up the second. Everyone's performance, it does always really bring it. So yeah, the cast were fantastic. And yeah, I think they could have done a lot more, wrapping up with this story in terms of like a lot of the characters that we're using and the Carol angle and stuff just kind of got a bit dropped. But I think this episode really excelled in Hook as a character and the flashbacks with him, the story with his dad, how that all connected back. I really enjoyed that aspect of things quite a bit. And the setup for the second half of the season with like the underworld and stuff, I think that's a really interesting premise, and I can't wait to see them explore that and exactly how they're going to do that. And how long for? Are they going to spend the entire second half of the season, in the underworld? Are we not even going to see Storybook or something because the main cast are all there? We'll have to wait and see. But I really like that setup as well, and I liked the theme of like who you truly are that was running through the episode, and that ended up being like a big crux in Hook's development and his turn back to the light and his decision to sacrifice himself. So yeah, lots of good stuff going on as well. I feel like maybe they didn't reach a lot of the potential that this story could have had ultimately. I think that's kind of how I felt a bit maybe with the second half of season 4 as well. I felt they didn't quite always reach the potential with that arc either. But when they did, they really excelled, and that's been the same with this arc as well, I think. And we've had some really great episodes. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where they're going to take the second half, and to get to the official 100th episode next will be quite fun. Big landmark. After like, what, 3 years of reacting to Once Upon a Time, we've finally gotten there. So I wonder where we'll be this time next year. We'll be quite close to the end, I imagine. So yeah. Overall, a really, really solid episode. There was just a few things I wish they'd done a bit more, but that's more so, I guess, just for the arc as a whole that I wish they'd done more with, you know, as opposed to just as one individual episode. Because I think it was a very serviceable ending to this arc, and an even better setup for a next one that I'm really excited to check out. So yeah, that's going to be everything for now. And I will see you guys for the 100th episode, I suppose. Very exciting. And yeah, until my next reaction, thanks for watching.